Hi, this is Don King. June and I have lived here for 2 years now, since 2 years ago February. I like to play the piano. I have not played now for a little more than 2 months. On March 10th, we had a wonderful Tuesday night program here. I had a great audience that saved me and helped me make it through the night. I am sure that all the residents, every resident of the Sarasota Bay Club has missed something or sacrificed something during this pandemic thing that we're struggling through. I have missed the piano. I like to play usually for an audience of one, which is me, but I did enjoy those 2 times before. And Jill has asked me to do something here for a few minutes that if it's good enough, she'll put it on 195. If it's not, she's going to throw it away. So I'll see what I can do. I play mostly old songs. They're actually old dance band songs written in the teens, 20s, and the 30s, popular then, and then revived with great enthusiasm in the post-war years, because America had gone through a very difficult 15 years. The 30s with the Depression, the terrible war from 41 to 45, and a lot of sacrifice and a lot of suffering. When that war was over, people wanted to celebrate, they wanted to be happy, and one of the ways they expressed that was in dancing. And the dance halls and the ballrooms, new ballrooms many times, and the dance bands had a great period of popularity and success. It's designed to be happy music. I hope that it creates a little happiness for all of us here at Sarasota Bay. So I'll start in this kind of experimental piano and we'll see what happens. You will know most of these. I'm sure you get the idea. That's the sort of stuff that was in the 20s and the 30s, and they brought back to the dance halls at the end of the war with great enthusiasm because people wanted to dance. I'll try, let's see, Who's Sorry Now, and see how that goes. I'm going to play now Angry. Dearie, please don't be angry because I was only teasing you. and then I'll play the one about the little red-haired girl with blue eyes. So here we go. Okay, next song I'm going to play is one that I continued to hear over the radio, WLS in Chicago on Saturday nights when they went 15-minute segments around from ballroom to ballroom. All of these different bands that were so hot, not the top line bands like Benny Goodman, Tommy Dorsey, but the next level down, and they were awfully good. This one, an old song written in 1916 by Art Castle, who had an orchestra known as the Castles in the Air. And this was his theme song forever, and he was still playing it in 1950. Doodle Doo Doo. With a few misses, but that's all right. Okay, I'm going to try to play the top dance song of the total 1940s, and everybody knows this one, I'm sure. Done by the great Glenn Miller, In the Mood. I'll try to play the introduction because it was good, and it leads into that very common theme that we all remember, something like this. approximately. I want to play a nice song now. This would be something to do if you're at Bayport and have nothing else to do. Hopefully that's not happening to too many of us now. You could sit right down and write yourself a letter. Thank you, neighbor and friend. Okay, let's see what else I might play here. I'll try to play this. There was a song a long time ago titled Dream a Little Dream of Me, and it was popular, and then Doris Day did a vocal on it, and then a few years later Mama Cass Elliot did it with the Mamas and the Papas. They both sang it kind of romantic-like. Thank you. And I could have got that, but that's okay. Thank you, Alec. The dance bands played it a little more up-tempo. I'll see what I can do with it. I don't know. Romantic breakups, I did a thing on that the last time that I played here, and a couple of people liked it. I looked back in old songs and I found that there were a lot of examples of romantic breakups. In almost all cases, it was the girl quitting the guy. And research showed that it was kind of like ivory soap, 99 and 44, 100% of the time. They didn't come back. And like Dick Jurgens had a great band in Chicago and said, once they're gone for whatever reasons they left. And there's a story behind every one of them. And this one, most of them are sad for the guy. This one is, you know, a guy very innocently, he picks up his date and they're going to the dance as they've been doing for forever. And they're looking forward to it. And they get there and they start dancing and they're having a great time. And lo and behold, he sees a good old friend of his across the floor. So he can't wait, takes his girl by the arm, takes us over, introduces her. They're having a great conversation, and the new guy says, would you mind if I asked your girl to dance? He said, oh, by all means. So they went out and danced, and while they were dancing to a pretty song, the Tennessee Waltz, this guy stole the guy's girl. And that's kind of sad. That's sad. It's just sad. And this next one is more pathetic. This one is more pathetic. The guy tells it this way. Last Saturday night, me and my wife got married. Me and my wife settled down. Now, me and my wife have parted. I'm going to jump into the river and drown. You know, and that's extreme. I hope he gets therapy or something, because this is not good. But when nighttime comes, which is worse than the day, all he can say is, "Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dreams." Another very sad story. Now, this was a little different in the start. The guy, he's just going to perform his civic duty, and he calls the police station. The guy answers and says, "Police station, can I help you?" He says, "Yes, I'd like to report a theft." He said, "Go ahead." And he said, "Well, somebody stole my gal." And he said, "Well, do you have any more details?" He said, "No, she didn't even say she was leaving." And that really struck home with him, that he wasn't being treated right at all, because somebody stole his gal. kind of from a different angle. These, in fact, it's much different. This is where the guy is really at fault, and it's hard to believe, and I hope he was brought to justice. It's an old song. It's titled, just a minute, I'll find it here, Walking Cane. Hand me down my walking cane. And the second line of that goes, I had a wife and 13 kids. Yeah, I had a wife and 13 kids. Hand me down my walking cane. I'm going to leave on the midnight train. And all my cares are taken away. Let's see how that goes. Sad songs just go on and on about the broken romance. I'm going to try to play some things from New Orleans here from around 1920. That's exactly 20 years ago, thereabouts. And in 1917, a man named Shelton Brooks, who was very famous, a Canadian-American, African-American by descent, settled down in New Orleans and had a great impact on Dixieland music and other music at that time. And the first one was introduced in 1917 by the original Dixieland Band. And if you ever have a chance to look those people up, it's an interesting group. And this song is the Darktown Strutters Walk. Second one is the Muskrat Ramble, and this was made famous by another guy that was very important down in New Orleans, a guy named Kid Ory. And Kid Ory not only played and composed, but he really made the trombone a famous, important, integral part of music. And you can almost imagine, even with my piano, them playing the role of the trombone in Muskrat Ramble. And it has some really good chords. I hope I can hit them. That was first played by, listen to this group, 1996, Louis Armstrong and the Hot Five. That's really something back in 1926 on that one. This one is interesting in that it was not, there's no composer credited to it. It's a very famous song, The Tiger Rag. And nowadays, you can often get awfully tired of The Tiger Rag if you watch football, because Clemson and LSU are both the Tigers, and they start out, they got a trombone section of about 20, I would say, and they start out pregame playing that, and then every time they score, and they both score a lot, they play the heck out of The Tiger Rag. But you can hear the trombone in it, and Kid Ory would be thrilled to see all those trombones doing that thing. This, as I said, not attributed to a composer, but instead it says adapted from a French quadrille. And I looked that up, and that was in the 1800s in France. It was kind of like a square dance, 4 couples, 8 people, and they did what they called a quadrille. And Kid Ory liked the sound of it, thought that he could really build some trombone into it, and did he ever. And so he developed what we know as the Tiger Rag. I am not sure I can do very well on it, but I'll attempt it. Let's see, where does it start? Can you hear the trombone there? Attempt at the Tiger Rag. Jill, how am I doing on time here? I can wind it up.
About 10 more minutes.
10 more minutes? Okay. Okay, I want to do one more from New Orleans. This is a different tempo, but people know the song. Ended up being a hymn, or started out as a hymn. Just a Closer Walk with Thee. But it's very famous in New Orleans from 2 standpoints. Number one, it was the keynote song for one of the greatest clarinetists of all time, Pete Fountain. And some people that visited New Orleans in the past maybe found him someplace and got to hear him play. He had a restaurant at one time, in fact, and if you went there, he was almost always there, and he might play with a trio. It could be a piano and a bass, or a piano and a drum, or sometimes he'd have a full group. And one of his best, a terrific recording, we got about 8 guys, including Lionel Hampton, on the xylophone. The other way that it was famous, the reason it was famous in New Orleans, was, as some of you remember, you know, and it's still alive to a degree, that at a funeral, when somebody died, they had a parade. And they were playing Just a Closer Walk with Thee. And they started out, it was very mournful and stately and slow. And then they picked it up. They picked it up a bit, and at the end it was time to celebrate. And they really kicked up their heels and played it. So I'll play it through. I'll try to play it about 3 times. The theme is monotonous. There's only one theme to it. But Pete Fountain could do wonders with it. Let's see how that goes. right back to New Orleans.
How you doing, my friend?
Well, I'm doing the best I can. You know, it ain't always real good, but you'll know this Sunday, when you get old, it gets to be a little more challenging. I'd love to hear you sing again. Will you do that for us?
Oh, yeah.
Good. Okay. I think I'll just play Please Don't Talk About Me When I'm Gone. That's a request. Please don't talk about me when I'm gone. And then I'll be all done here. I want to thank my great television audience, and if you decided to change channel, that was your privilege, but I've had a good time being here. Thank you.